Today, I come at you with part four of the House of Orange baseball preview, talking about the outfielders. I've already covered the pitchers, the catchers, the infielders. Let's put all this thing together and get rocking and rolling on this 24 season. Happy Friday. This is Frank Rock. This is the House of Orange Sports Channel. Thank you guys for tuning in with me. Going to conclude part four of my baseball preview with the outfielders today, and we'll go a little bit more, talk about predictions for this year. How far do I feel this team can go? Kind of looking at the lineup. So there's a little bit more to it, but as far as position previews, go wrap that up today. And there's some previews out there already, but kind of dragging, this one up a little late as I went the opposite direction, went pitchers, catchers, infielders first, concluding with the outfielders today. But as always, make sure you like this, subscribe, share it out. Thank you for all the support so far. Dropped last night, Tennessee Vanderbilt basketball preview, and then I dropped a video talking about Tony Vitello's press conference from last night as well, talking about just different parts of the team chemistry, what Zane Denton's role may or may not be this year, and then some guys that Tony's excited about as we go forward this year as well. But getting into the outfielders, so I feel this is maybe the most unknown position of the group because you're replacing 2/3 of your starters from last year as at the end of the year. You're replacing, arguably, I don't even know if it's arguable, Jared Dickey was the best hitter on this team last year. I don't even think that's arguable. Hit for a high average, was a key guy in clutch situations. He hit third a lot last year, and I really disagreed with that. I would have had him hitting lead off. He started the year hitting lead off. The year before, he hit some lead off. I'm a firm believer in hitting your best guy at the top. I really am. I think in this day and age, I want my guy at the top getting the most at bats. Who might have doubt what they're doing, but also have enough where I feel I can disagree with it, and doesn't mean right, doesn't mean I'm wrong on it. But I thought Dickey hitting third because you had Hunter Ensley second, you had Maui Ahuna hitting first, and I don't know that top three last year didn't do it for me. It just didn't. I would like Dickey leading off, and then there's other ways I would have went. I didn't like Ensley in the two-hole, and it's not that I don't like him as a player. I do, but just in terms of a batting lineup and what I'm looking at. And I'll do a hitting order video. I'm going to do that probably maybe this weekend. I'll see how time is on that, and I'll kind of detail how I would go with it. Not that I'm some be-all, end-all, know-it-all in it, but, I do have an opinion on it. It is an educated opinion on that as well. But you're replacing Jared Dickey in left field. You're replacing Christian Scott in right field. Hit 260. He had a decent year in conference. I felt at the end of the year, though, it was like with him and Cal Stark, it was almost like it was two automatic outs. And funny enough, one of the games I went to the doubleheader in Columbia last year when they were there. And in game two on that Saturday, Scott and Stark both hit home runs in that game. I don't know if it's like a leprechaun finding a pot of gold or what. That game. I mean, those guys did good things for the program. Don't get me wrong with it. But, when I start to look at some of these outfielders here, and, it's obvious Tony chose defense over bats when we get into it. So you're replacing Christian Scott. You're replacing Jared Dickey. Dickey's a big one to fill. He really is. Drafted in the 10th round. I don't know if his signing bonus caused him to go a little later than expected. I was surprised he did, but the Kansas City Royals got a deal getting him in the 10th round there. So looking at who's back, Hunter Ensley's going to be back in center field. So if we look at him last year, he hit 280. He played in 59 games. He started 50. He had 7 home runs, 31 RBIs, 425 slugging percentage, 24 walks, 43 strikeouts, 6 stolen bases. On your on base percentage, 391. And, he's a guy in that Clemson game had a big hit in extra innings that propelled him to the win. He had some opportunities in that LSU game, the final game, had a couple big opportunities and failed to deliver in it. Again, that was a part where if I've got a Jared Dickey there, I'm feeling pretty good with that. Again, I like Inslee as a player. I don't see him as a top 4 hitter. I just don't. And maybe him as a junior now, maybe that changes. He had respectable numbers, but a guy in that 2-hole, I want a guy who can put bat on ball and make something happen. 280 in college, I don't think that's what I'm looking for. They're maybe in the major leagues, but normally that hole is a guy, good contact, who can move guys. So we'll see. Based on history, I think you got to see Inslee's probably going to be at the top of the lineup. Your next guy's Dylan Dreiling. Look for him to start in left field. Last year, he hit 295. He played in 50 games, started 24 of them, had 7 home runs, 20 RBIs, 621 slugging percentage, 1 stolen base, 20 strikeouts in 95 at bats. So, that's almost only 1 out of every 5. That's a guy I have to question, why was he not on the field more last year? He did have over a 90% fielding percentage, .917. So maybe that's where Scott got the nod over him. But, offensive wise, based on the at-bats, the comparisons, this just seemed like a guy to me that maybe should have been on the field more. I guess easy to say in hindsight, but I feel pretty confident he'll be in left field this year. And then your right fielder, you're probably looking at Kavaris Tears. And last year, 304, played in 29 games, started 14, 2 home runs, 11 RBIs. Had that big home run in the Vanderbilt game, the first game of that series that tied it up. Of course, Griff Merritt, which he started some in the outfield earlier in the year. It's another bat you have to replace this year. Good at bat. But he ended up DHing more. So, that's another big stick you're going to have to replace this year. With Tears, no stolen bases, slug 518, on-base percentage 379. So I think you'll see some power out of these guys, but here's what you're looking at, though. You're looking at 2 lefties out of this, and then Inslee, the righty. And so I know he talked about with at-bats, right-handers like Robin Villeneuve, JUCO transfer coming in. Tony talked about today, yesterday in the press conference, how this guy and his right-handed bat, he'll have chances to get into that lineup, some whether it's DH or where it is. And then another guy that may factor is Reese Chapman. Okay, he come out of Colorado. He was number 1 player in Colorado coming in last year, 263. Played in 15 games, started 2 home runs, 7 RBIs, 579 slugging, 417 on base, 1 stolen base. So the common denominator in all this lineup, this is not a still heavy lineup. So that's going to bring me some questions later on as I get into this season. And in terms of Omaha, can this team get to Omaha? Absolutely. With their style of ball, I have questions. Can they win in Omaha? All right. There's just not a lot of, other than Christian Moore, that's why I talked about in my infielders preview. I would think heavily about leading him off because that's a guy who can do a little bit of everything. And he had 16 stolen bases last year. He's your leading returning stolen base guy. So can he wreak some havoc up at the top of that lineup? If you're looking at, another guy, Colby Backus, come in, played his high school ball at Daniel Boone in 2019, 2020. Funny stat with him is he hit 19 home runs at Walter State. It said Daniel Boone, his junior year, he only had 1 home run, and then 2020 was the COVID shortened year. So not a guy known for home run hitting, but goes to Walter State. Now he's a power bat. So didn't play last year. So he does still have a couple years remaining. How does he possibly factor in this year? I know, there's a lot of excitement about his bat there. And, just looking at him, said at Walter State, star outfielder. They won the JUCO World Series. He was tabbed as second team All-American in 22. And it said in 22, he hit 384, 19 doubles, 19 home runs, 75 RBIs. So, it's a guy that's got some potential with his bat. And then looking at perfectgame.com, I think I butchered this name earlier, and I said Cole Schaefer. It's Cole Eaton. He's an outfielder, was ranked 121 according to Perfect Game out of Nebraska. And then you have two-way guy Braden Sharp out of the Woodlands, Texas, and Derek Schaefer. I can't remember if it's Eaton or Schaefer they said is a two-way guy, possibly. And then you've got a Dean Curley, what I talked about in the infielders preview. Is he a guy could possibly factor into the outfield? But I think it's a pretty good possibility. And you could factor in Dalton Bargo, who's kind of transferred from Missouri. He can catch, he can play first, he can pitch, he can play the outfield. So how does he factor in as well? So I think this will be a good outfield, and this will be a good lineup. You've got some questions in this outfield, but I think there's a real good possibility of Dreiling, Inslee, Tiers are your three guys. Maybe you see Chapman some, but he's another left-handed bat, so he doesn't really provide you that right-handed bat. Maybe Backus does. Maybe some of these freshmen coming in to provide it. But if you put these outfielders with what you already had with your infielder, you're real unknown shortstop right now. And then you factor in Cannon Peebles at catcher. You've got Dalton Bargo coming in, who Tony Vitello is pretty high on. You got some JUCO guys with some pop in their bat. This could be a pretty nice lineup. And, the thing they got going for them, they're not replacing 8 guys this year. They're replacing 5 guys in the lineup, and some of them they're replacing are proven commodities at other good schools. So I like the potential out of this lineup with Dreiling, Inslee, and Tiers, and I'm really interested to see some of the pop that they have in that lineup as well, and some good averages coming back. Can some of these guys be maybe a disruptor on the bases? I'm curious to see that along the way, because I'm not seeing it right now on paper, but that doesn't mean it's not something that factors in this year. But I'll link it here at the end to make sure if you're interested, checking out the other 3 parts of it: the pitchers, catchers, infielders, the Tony Vitello wrap-up video, talk about that as well. But thank you guys as well. Vanderbilt preview is already up for tomorrow. Vanderbilt recap will be up tomorrow after the game. VFL review Sunday, plenty to talk about there as well. Lots coming on here. I'm gonna keep bringing it, and it's just one guy who's doing his own thing, doing it my way. Okay, I'm not a fake. I'm not a pretender. I'm not an impersonator, as the channel vaguely got referred to right out of the gates. Even though his channel wasn't mentioned, I know good and well who it was directed at. That's not the case. All right, it's in here trying to come up for original stuff and trying to do my research as well on it. But thank you for the support. Please leave me feedback along the way. It's greatly appreciated. This is Frank Brock. This is the House of Orange. Happy Friday. Enjoy your weekend, and go Vols.